Okay, in this video I wanted to just give some examples of some multiple steps of what I've been talking about and why adding of signed numbers, knowing whether we're adding the same sign or the opposite sign, or subtracting, which is add the opposite sign, and how this comes into play. So we're going to do three examples here. The first one I'm going to do is just going to be a longer problem uh, of signed numbers. So 3 minus 2 plus 4 minus 6 and 8 minus a negative 4. Now, I threw a subtraction in here, even though, yes, those guys are a subtraction. What I'm going to try to do is simplify all this mess here. Okay, so if I simplify that, I can get a 3 minus 2 plus 4 minus 6 plus 8, and then add the opposite sign here, right? So let me get that. Add the opposite sign here, and this guy becomes plus 4, right? All right, so everything's in addition subtraction. We don't have to add the opposite sign, this and that. But now what happens is we can actually see that, hey, that guy's a positive 3, positive 4, positive 8, positive 4. And when I add the same sign, I always get that sign. So now this makes my life easier because I can extract those guys and say 3 plus 4 plus 8 plus 4. I can simplify that guy. That's a plus 4. And that's 8, 16, and 19. And they're all positives. If I go back here, let's do a different color here. This guy, that guy are negatives, which means when I add those two guys, I'm going to get a negative, and they become 8. Now I'm going to come back because I'm in subtraction, and you should know that 8 take away from 19 is 11, but if I add the opposite sign, now I'm adding opposite signs, I find the difference between them, which is indeed 11. The sign of the larger, well, 19 is larger, so it's positive, and my answer is positive 11. So as you can see, there's a lot of steps here, but now I can kind of discriminate my positives from my negatives, and I can get right to my answer here. And a lot less steps than just going left to right, where I say 3 minus 2 is 1, plus 4 is 5, minus 6 is negative 1, plus 8 is 7, etc., 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 right? So let's take a look at another example here. And I'm going to put that in black this time. I'm going to say, what is our favorite thing to do in the whole wide world? Well, it's fractions. So let's do a fraction one. And so minus 1/4 and plus 3/8. Well, in order to have fractions, I must have a common denominator. So let's go ahead and let's do that. And at the same time, I'm going to put my common denominators with my positives. So as I make this common denominator, I'm going to write this out here so we know common denominator is 24, right? So as I write this, this becomes 12/24. I'm going to add this 8/24 to it. And I'm going to put this one, because it is also positive, put it up here. I'm going to go 24. And that guy's times 3, and times 3 is 9. And then minus, and this guy now becomes 24. What did I do? I took it times 6, so I have to take top times 6. And now all I really have to do is 12 plus 8 is 20, and 9 is 29 24ths minus 6 24ths, and yes, that is 23 24ths. And if you think back, it still works with our sign, even though I didn't do it this time. Add the opposite sign, it's still a difference of 23. Sign of the larger is a positive. So yes, that answer is still 23/24, common denominator. And of course, if we've done common denominators, it's only fair that we do a decimal one. So 7, 5, that's a 7, 5. Let me get that back there. How about that? Okay, then plus 4 plus 3 5/10 minus 5/100. All right, so as I pull these guys apart, okay, I'm going to take, and I can put my negatives ahead. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to take my negatives here, and when I add 75 hundredths with 5 hundredths, I get 80 hundredths. They're all going to get me the negative. 80 hundredths is the same as 8 tenths, so I'm going to go ahead and shorten that down. And then add, and I'm going to take 4, add it to 3.5, and get 7 and 5 tenths. Now, yes, I can flip the order here, but when I'm talking about my rules, I don't necessarily have to, right? Because all I have to do is find the difference between 7.5 and 8, which is 6 and 7 tenths. And the sign of the larger is this guy is larger. It is positive, so that guy is positive. And my answer is 6 and 7 tenths. So just a short video. Hopefully it'll help you out, give you some examples how this applies when multiple things are happening, and especially with the fractions and the decimals.